I spent just under 1,500 Canadian dollars on the ROG Xbox Ally X, and I have to return it. If you're new here, hey, I'm Coulter, and on this channel we cover handheld gaming, retro gaming, console mods, AI code, 3D printing, all kinds of stuff. So if that sounds like you, feel free to subscribe below so you don't miss future uploads. So today we're gonna dive into my real world experience with the ROG Xbox Ally X. I've had it around for about a month now, and it's time to talk about if it is indeed worth that infamous price tag. So first, let's talk about something that surprised me in not so much a good way, and that was the software. It was weirdly fragile. Multiple times over the past month, I've had to go into the device manager and uninstall and reinstall the driver for the touchscreen so that I could get responsiveness in the touchscreen back. Sometimes that wouldn't even do it. I had to reboot the whole console and then the touchscreen would work again for something that's supposed to be much more console-like than its predecessor, given the Xbox full screen experience, the Xbox branding, etc. That's a pretty big con, especially given I never had to do that with my original ROG Ally. That's not all. I also had really weird issues where I'd be navigating the menus, just using the controller, but then using the A button to select something. I found that multiple times on different occasions, I would have to kind of spam the A button just to get it to register a single press on an option. So for example, to open the power menu dropdown, I have to hit A maybe 8 times and then I get it, oh, there it popped up. One of those happened to hit. So definitely some weird timing issues with the UI. But then I figured, okay, I'm sure it's firmware related. Let's check and see if there's a new firmware update. And indeed there was through Armory Crate. So I said, oh, great, that'll fix everything. So let's update that. Wants a reboot, okay, hit reboot. It would then restart and I would check Armory Crate again to see if any new updates popped up, as you do when you live in a Windows world. And there'd be another firmware update. I'd say, okay, yeah, hit that one. Restart, and another firmware update. And after a minute, I realized that I had been repeatedly installing the same firmware update over and over because it never appeared to either successfully install or as a glitch in Armory Crate and it kept showing up. But either way, I was starting to feel a bit like a bunny on a treadmill with the dangled carrot from ASUS being a firmware update that maybe will fix my weird device issues. So that wasn't great. So all this made me realize that it's pretty clear ASUS and, in collaboration, Microsoft through both Windows and the Xbox collab allowed this to be shipped with some good enough software, and I'm pretty sure they're fixing the ship while they're sailing it, especially given how often they update the Xbox app and how semi-often I'll see updates pop up through Armory Crate. And that's par for the course, especially given that the next Xbox console is supposed to essentially be a gaming PC running the Xbox full screen experience. So between now and then, I expect there to be lots of updates to Windows and the Xbox app and AMD-based hardware like they're gonna collab with as they try to make that future reality possible. But for right now, I definitely felt like a bit of a beta tester of this software. And related to software, just as a more general note on those who are hoping this would feel like a console, it became pretty clear early on that it would not, especially when you take it out of the box and then are likely presented with a lot of Windows 11 updates. And then to properly and completely update the device, you have to update it through Windows Update, through multiple cycles, as we all know. And then you need to update your various apps in the Microsoft Store, especially the Xbox app, which is of course your hub app for the Xbox full screen experience. And then you need to make sure you're all up to date in ASUS Armory Crate, which is more firmware, drivers, and all that very critical device specific stuff. So unless your console experience up to this point has been soldered together home machines that you've created yourself, that's not really the console vibe we've been looking for. But to be fair, I understand there's a lot of work that needs to be done to even just unify all of these sources of updates into one single portal on a handheld like this. There's just a lot going on with Windows-based devices in general, and so they've got a real uphill battle ahead if they want to make all the software feel truly like an Xbox console-like experience within the next couple of years. Shifting over to the hardware itself though, the key thing on the cons column for me is I think just a defect with mine. Let me know in the comments if you had this too, but the right vibration motor on certain games, notably Forza Horizon 4, would sound really like papery, like and that's definitely not the intended sound, especially given that I know that this one was doing it correctly. So that's the key reason I have to return this device. But in the pros column, I've quite enjoyed the boosted Z2 Extreme chip, the 24 gigs of RAM, the ergonomics in this guy are delightful. The joysticks are definitely improved from the original. At the very least, they're less loosened than my original Allies were. The buttons feel absolutely great, very similar to the original, with the only con being that Maybe it's just because this was brand new out of box, but the Y button for me stuck just a couple of times, but hasn't happened in the last couple of weeks, so I'm thinking that was just the new car smell effect, if you will. And of course, the 80 watt-hour battery is delightful. Having Thunderbolt 4 instead of the proprietary eGPU dock from the original ROG Ally has been delightful. Stay tuned for a very interesting video I have planned about that port, if it hasn't come out already. And you may not be a fan of it, but I am. The sleek Xboxification finish of this guy is just really pretty to look at. And again, one of the probably biggest pros I gotta go back to is just the ergonomics. Like, these grips just feel so freaking good. But on the note of that Z2 Extreme chip, it's time we talk about the performance of this device. And if you take a look at the performance charts from my original ROG Ally versus ROG Xbox Ally X video, where we benchmarked them both in great detail, you may recall that in some titles, like Marvel's Spider-Man, we saw increases in FPS of up to 41% at certain TDPs and graphical settings. But on other titles, that gap might have been a little narrower at 15 to 20%, sometimes even less, which makes sense. It was quite apparent that newer, more CPU-hungry titles really valued the Z2 Extreme, and titles from maybe 5+ years ago were pretty equal on both handhelds because they had similar bottlenecks and optimizations in place. But one thing we didn't really double-click on in that particular video is when we're talking about the 20 to 30% average boost you get in FPS on this handheld versus the original Z1 Extreme, that tends to only refer to between maybe 5 and 15 frames per second, which granted, when we're talking about a AAA title and we're going from 40 FPS to 50 FPS, that can mean a lot. But like we talked about in that video, once you start factoring in things like FSR and frame gen and various optimization tricks you can do, then you have to really ask yourself if those maybe 10 extra raw frames are really worth the extra price tag of this chip. And speaking of the chip, the Z2 Extreme uses Zen 5 architecture, and so that explains why in CPU-hungry games we're seeing such boosts. But as far as the graphical power, we went from RDNA 2 on the Z1 Extreme to RDNA 3.5 on the Z2 Extreme, which, yes, is a nice bump up, but not quite as much of a nice bump as if we'd seen RDNA 4 in this guy, which I did see comments from you guys on past videos about how you're likely gonna wait for essentially the ROG Ally 3 that's gonna rock the Z3 Extreme and ideally RDNA 4 graphics power, which hopefully will help us justify the upgrade from the Z1 Extreme a little easier than the upgrade to the Z2 Extreme. So really what it comes down to is, who is this ROG Xbox Ally X actually for? Well, if you don't own a gaming handheld at all, no Steam Deck, no ROG Ally, no Legion Go, etc., and if budget isn't really a concern, you just want a really premium feeling Windows-based handheld, well then this guy is probably right up your alley. It is a great feeling handheld. But for the majority of Windows gamers who want to play their library on the go, other options may prevail. Option 1, a device which I do not own and doesn't really make sense for me to own, but I still want because it's so good, is the Steam Deck OLED. It's got a much more approachable price point, it's built for beautiful SteamOS, a gorgeous display, solid battery life, and it's way much more of a traditional console feel than a device like this. And then I'd throw in option 2, which is an option I talked about in the previous comparison video between this and the original, is to snag a used original ROG Ally on something like Marketplace or eBay or whatever for quite cheap. I see them right now for about 400 Canadian dollars. And then to fix its chief issue of battery life, go ahead and grab something like the JSaw battery upgrade kit or do one of the DIY ones through AliExpress or something, but that'll only run you like $100-ish. I think JSaw even has like a Black Friday deal going on right now. They didn't sponsor this video, I just like their products. And so for about 500 Canadian, you could get an original ROG Ally with the upgraded battery. And then for I think like a couple hundred-ish more, not sure on the pricing at the moment, you can get a brand new Steam Deck OLED, or maybe even find one of those used as well, because they have been out for a little while now, so some people may have been there, done that, and be willing to gift you their OLED for a small fee. And then if you're someone like me and you're looking for an upgrade, but you already own an original ROG Ally, I think it's a half decent idea to keep an eye out for a good deal on a used ROG Ally X, which of course will then give you the same 80 watt-hour battery as this guy, the same 24 gigs of RAM, and that same Thunderbolt 4 port. So that's three pretty major wins of this handheld for I think literally half the price. Like I saw one on Marketplace yesterday for 700 Canadian versus this guy, which is 1450 Canadian with taxes. So if you care a lot more about those three factors and not so much about the grips or the Xbox button or the Z2 Extreme chip, then the ROG Ally X is probably that sweet spot you're looking for. Or of course, you can just play around with the MSI Claw and Legion Go offerings as well. I haven't played with those hands-on as much, but let me know in the comments what you would recommend if you were in my shoes and you're looking for something a little different from the ROG Ally, but don't really want to pony up the cash for brand new hardware. So at the end of a full month, my take is that the ROG Xbox Ally X is a beautiful handheld with polished hardware and a lot of software potential, and the Z2 Extreme inside is indeed a nice upgrade from the Z1 Extreme, albeit maybe just not quite as much of a bump as I would have liked to see. And I feel like this device at this point is really marketed to two target audiences. The first being the Xbox diehards who would just love to own anything with the Xbox branding printed on it, and I get you. I own a lot of things with an Xbox stamp on it. And the other group being handheld gaming enthusiasts who want a really solid, pretty device who maybe don't care if it's the most optimized dollar to performance ratio. I've genuinely enjoyed using this device for the past month, and it's gonna be really sad to return it tomorrow, but I'm curious what you guys think. Is the ROG Xbox Ally X for you, or what is your recommendation of that sweet spot Windows gaming handheld here in 2025? And if you watched all the way through this video, go ahead and drop a seasonally appropriate Santa emoji in the comments so I know that you're actually enjoying this kind of content. And if you like this video, you'll probably enjoy the head-to-head video where I put the original ROG Ally versus the ROG Xbox Ally X, going into detailed performance benchmarks. But thanks so much for watching and have an awesome day.